All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Doing this a day early. I'm headed out to Colorado tomorrow. And we have Matt K, Kenny W. What's going on, Kenny? Sheets, Ricardo. Yeah, I think that's all four. Matt K, Sheets, Kenny, Ricardo. Heading to Philadelphia, where this is fights taking place, UFC 330 for the live final. Congrats to you guys. I believe there's 15 people, and we have 4 of them from Shipping Nation. Headed over there. Big props to you guys. Big congrats. $250K up top for this one. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're looking at 12 fights for this card. 2 5-rounders. Islam Makhachev, Ian Gary, Mackenzie Dern, Jillian Robertson, both for the title. So we have 2 5-round fights. And then we did just get news that this morning that it was supposed to be Jose Ochoa, Charles Johnson. Ochoa was a big boy favorite. He is out. In steps Eduardo Chapelin. We do not have any odds, props, anything for this fight right now. Kenny says he knew a bookmaker and he has it, or he thinks it's going to be around minus 180. So when we talk about it, I have not looked at it at all. We can kind of go based on a minus 180 plus 150 number. Regardless, though, Charles Johnson will definitely be one of the most popular fighters on the slate at only 6,900. Will only be more popular if the line is closer and if the fight's expected to go the distance. Charles Johnson throws decent amount of volume, but dogs are relatively tough to come by. A lot of big favorites on this card. Another thing, you can see the first 8 fights we're going to talk about, all expected to go the distance. 9, 11, 12, 10, 12. Actually, the first 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All of these fights are expected to finish. I don't know if I said go the distance. I'm a little thrown off, but yeah, 9 are expected to finish. We will see about the Johnson Chaplin fight. 2 of the 5-rounders are expected to go the distance slightly. Obviously, we know, though, they can still get there with big scores, even if it does go the distance. Hope everybody out there doing well. Time to bring in Big Marley. You can see that not at his normal setup, some technical difficulties prior, but we do have him live with us right now.
Yeah, man. For some reason, my Wi-Fi went out right before we started the show, so hopefully everything is all right through the phone. I'm going to keep trying to get it to go if I can during the show, but we'll see how it goes. But you said Kenny thinks it's going to be minus 180. Minus 180 for who?
Chaplin, Eduardo, Johnson the dog.
Okay. Yeah, I just did that was the last thing I got to do. I watched some highlights on Eduardo, and then it all went out. So I have just a basic understanding of who he even is, but he looks pretty decent. So I think I'm ready to rock and roll if you are.
Cool. Yeah, I'm ready to rock and roll. That one I have not looked into. I will admit I'm waiting for lines to come out, for props to come out. And then if it is minus 180 range, Eduardo will be either 8,500 or 8,700. Since we know that DraftKings does not like to price people the same, those are the 2 open spots that he will be priced into right there. Yeah, I got nothing else to add. Again, all we ask for is the like button and subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. We're going to start bottom to top, like always, with the biggest favorite and the highest price fighter on the card. Myktybek, Orolbai, minus 900, taking on Jeremiah Wells, plus 613, minus 200 for this fight to finish. Orolbai, minus 175 inside the distance. Wells, plus 850. Orolbai in round 1, plus 240. Many of you guys probably remember Orolbai's performance last time out, where he went 19 for 24 on takedowns for 12.5 minutes of control time and 168 DraftKings points. $9,600 fighters have been biting me in the ass recently. Rebecca gets a monster score. Yadier last week had a phenomenal score. I put underweight on both of them. I was even with the field on Rebecca since he came in lower owned than expected. Orolbai, not sure I can necessarily go too underweight. The reason for that, Wells 50% takedown defense. I expect Orolbai to come out, wrestle early and often. With all that being said, he's still 9,600, and the upper tier is very, very loaded this week. So I think you want 120 plus from him. He is very live to do so. It's obviously hard to project someone to score 120 DraftKings points, though. So yeah, I'm not playing Wells. I'm definitely going to play some Orolbai. I'm curious to hear your take on him at this $9,600 price tag. Mute.
Yeah, I'm not against it. I don't love paying the $9,600 either, but for a guy who can wrestle and shoot 20 plus takedowns, I'm not gonna ever X somebody out like that, even if he was 9,800, to be honest with you. So I'm fine with it, but it just kind of depends on how many underdogs you like, what other favorites you want to get to as well. So that's why I have it as a 3-star. I'm absolutely fine doing whatever I can afford with Orolbai, but I'm just not gonna play any Wells. I don't see how he has any advantages in this fight. He's powerful. He's got wrestling in his background. He could get a knockout, but I really think the knockout is his only real hope in this matchup because I don't see him having minute-to-minute success against a guy like Orolbai, who I think is a better and more aggressive wrestler than he is. So I'm just going to X out Wells, and if he gets that knockout, I'm screwed. But Orolbai is going to be my easy pick in this one, and it's just going to matter if I can afford it or not. I don't really love too many underdogs on this card, but there are 2 title fights, and I'm not against either one of those underdogs. So if I'm playing one or either of them, then Orolbai just becomes that much easier to click on.
Yeah, I agree with all that. Dog's relatively tough, but that being said, I am also a little spoiler, fine playing both 5-round fight dogs, and also with Charles Johnson at 6,900, that also will make Orolbai more popular with the new fight replacement. Again, Johnson was like a plus 383 underdog. Now finds himself as a plus 150 dog. Only 6,900. That opens up when people do play him. It is a lot easier to spend for Orolbai. So, yeah, people usually only think of, oh, the Johnson is now a much better play. His ownership goes up. It does change the rest of the slate, though, and I think Orolbai is one of the biggest, I don't know if you want to say beneficiaries, but like it's a lot easier to fit him, but that raises his ownership more than it would have been if Ochoa Johnson was still on the card. Last thing to note on this fight, Orolbai opened minus 400. Now minus 900. So a lot of money has come in on Orolbai since open, and there's been a good amount of live movement on this card. So that is one to note. Let's go to the next fight. Also a fight that has had some line movement. This fight opened as a straight, actually it was minus 115 Ramiz, minus 105 Neil Magny. Now Ramiz is taking money, finds himself as a minus 140 favorite. Magny plus 120 on the way back. Minus 200 for this fight to finish. Brahimaj plus 125 inside the distance. Magny plus 240. Round 1 prop for Brahimaj opened at plus 350, now plus 325. I mean, Brahimaj has been good as of late. He's a very good grappler. I think he is my preferred play because he has a lot more round 1 upside. I think he can submit Magny in the first round. He is also 6 years younger. With all that being said, if Brahimaj can't do it early, that's where Neil Magny usually makes his money and his bread gets buttered. He extends fights. He wears on his opponents, can get a 3rd round finish. I like this fight at 8,200 8K. Curious to hear your take when we talk about this fight, and then Gore Luque, both of them in the mid tier. You have them both as 3 stars, but I do prefer this fight personally. I like Brahimaj as my preferred play. I think he has more round 1 upside. With that being said, though, Magny can still score 100 plus if he wins, and that would be due to Brahimaj tiring, Magny taking over, mixing in takedowns, and he has a solid inside the distance prop himself again at plus 240. So I'm in on this fight at 8,200 and 8K. What about you?
Yeah, I like it. Really for the same reasons. Brahimaj is, if he wins, I would imagine it's a first round. He is dangerous. I don't really expect knockouts from him, but he's very dangerous with submissions. And if he tries to wrestle aggressively, I think he can get Magny down pretty easily and maybe work his way to a back, choke him out, maybe even in the first 60 seconds. But if he doesn't get that first round finish, I think the takedowns are just going to be harder to come by. He's going to slow down. And Magny, even at like 40 years old, I just don't expect him to slow down. He's a cardio machine. And I think rounds 2 and rounds 3 would be Magny, and he could pick up the pace as Brahimaj starts to slow down. So I do think both guys have 100-point potential. If Magny loses the first round and doesn't score much, I would worry about how much he could score in those second 2 rounds unless he's able to get a finish of his own. But really, Brahimaj would be somebody I'd kind of want to max at his first round prop just because I don't even feel good about him winning after the first round, and I really don't feel good about him scoring well if it does get past the first round too. I don't expect him to be chain wrestling takedowns. It's just more if he gets one, he could finish it early. But I think all of his wins are in the first like round and a half, and I would expect the same thing here if he were to get his hand raised. I just don't trust him enough. So I picked Magny as my pick to win because he had the plus next to his name. But I just don't expect Magny to have much first-round equity himself. So I think there's a wide range on both sides of this one. One where I'm kind of fine just throwing it into the pot. If I am making a Magny lineup and I have the $200 extra, let me just duplicate it. Do the same thing with Brahimaj.
Yeah, I can't argue that at all. And actually, the more you talked and the more I thought about it, I don't know necessarily if I'm going to cap Brahimaj at his round one. That's plus 325. That's 23.5%. But I guess I don't want too much more than that because, yeah, a second round Brahimaj finish. Let's say he scores 96. I mean, you take 96 all day at 8,200. But again, right now, 9 of the 12 fights are expected to finish. All these first 9 fights we talk about are going to finish. We're going to see some big boy scores on this one. And then again, the 2 of the 3 right now, we don't know Johnson, Chaplin odds right now. So, I mean, I'm not even going to talk about this one. But Dern, Robertson, Makhachev, Gary expected to go the distance. Obviously, they're 5-round fights. If Robertson wins, she's almost surely going to score well. It's kind of hard to see Gary winning and not scoring well against Islam. We'll get there when we get there, though. But, yeah, I like Brahimaj. I like his round one prop. I guess the more you talk, the less interest I had in Magny. Because, yeah, if he just gets dominated round one, taken down, spends time on his back, even if he has a dominant rounds 2 and 3, like he needs like a buzzer beater finish, I think, in a second or a third round and just a fully one-way traffic to get there, which he can. I mean, he had a great comeback against Jake Matthews, but 8K, you still need to actually score at that price. So Brahimaj is definitely my preferred play. Maybe a little less interest in this fight than I initially had when you talked about it, but still a solid one to target, obviously. It's minus 200 to finish at 8,200, 8K. Last thing to note, I already mentioned the age gap, but Magny, as in most fights, big height and reach advantage. 5 inches of height, 8 inches in reach. He will have the advantage in this one. All right, I'll throw it to you to kick off this next fight. Lucas Fernando, minus 280. Rafael Tobias, plus 230. This fight's also minus 200 to finish. Fernando, minus 125 inside the distance. Tobias, plus 450. Fernando, round one, plus 250. What you got?
Yeah, this is one I really don't know too much on how it's going to play out because of the Tobias side. He is young. I expect him to make improvements. He's a stocky guy who has a little bit of power. He could throw some leg kicks here and there, but I really think he's going to have to rely on wrestling and maybe a submission game for him to win this fight because I just think Fernando is going to be the more proven, better, more technical striker overall, and he's coming over as the LFA champion too. So he just has more proven experience that he's beaten as well. And I think if Tobias isn't improving, I would imagine Fernando's going to get a knockout at some point. So that's what I picked to happen. He is my preferred play for that reason. But I think there's just more unknowns on the Tobias side. And if he is able to win a wrestling-based game, then he's got a pretty solid ceiling in his DFS outcome. So I'm not against him. He's not one of my favorite underdogs that I'm looking to click on. But I also think he's going to be pretty low owned, and maybe he could be a sneaky way to try and get a solo first place. So I'm okay with either side. I left it as a 3 for that reason. But when I'm going in to make hand-built lineups, I'm probably clicking on Fernando first, seeing what I could do with the lineup there. If I don't love it, then I'll go to other favorites. And if that leads me to Tobias, then so be it. But give me Fernando to get a knockout.
This is one of my least favorite fights on the card. The reason... Like, man, Fernando at 9,100, even if he gets a first-round finish, which, again, is plus 250, he's a striker. Dern, 5-round fight, 100 less. Islam, 100 more, 5-round fight. And then there's Ribovics for more who I like. There's Joel Alvarez, Donte Johnson, Jalin Turner. All those get 3, are expected to finish inside the distance, which I probably would just rather take Fernando out, leave the 200, leave the 300 as a way to get difference. He just falls in a range that's really tough for me. It will lower his ownership. It'll make him as a pivot. So in really chalky teams, it's not the worst idea, but I prefer Tobias just because he's 2K less. We need dogs on this card. And if he wins, it's more than likely going to be through wrestling, I think. I don't think he can strike with Fernando, so I think he needs to wrestle. He's plus 600 to win by sub, plus 1,000 to win by KO, which does show that a lot of his pass do come on the mat. And I'll take really any win at 7,100 this week. So Do I love Tobias? Not really, but he's going to be one of the lower owned options in the lower tier that I do have interest in. As far as line movement in this one, Fernando opened minus 180, took all the money. He was minus 320 2 days ago, and then there's been a little buyback on the Tobias side. So, yeah, obviously Fernando probably knocks him out or dominates a striking decision, but that doesn't necessarily score at 9,100. Tobias, if he wins, when he wins, I feel more confident he's on the optimal. And yeah, I mean, 7,100 versus 9,100 is a big difference on this card. So I'm going to say Tobias my preferred play, but one of my least favorite fights to target on the card. Again, just want to say appreciate everyone hanging out with us. Like button, subscribe button helps us out a ton. Let me head over and show our Shipping Nation homepage. This is our all access special that we have going on. Usually $99 gets you PGA, MLB, MMA, and NASCAR. Instead of $99, you get $49 for your first month, SaberSim, and access to the Discord. Definitely do get in the Discord if you do join. Bottom left, you can see Join the Nation. There are other deals that we have as well. 5 days for $19. That is the cheapest that you can get in for PGA, MLB, MMA, NASCAR. You will get all of that within this 5 days. PGA locks tomorrow on Thursday. We also do have showdown content Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. MLB is every single day. MMA, of course. NASCAR on Sundays. A lot of great screenshots in the NASCAR Discord I saw last week. Shout out to Eric, the game, who does a phenomenal job. And next thing you know, if you did do like the monthly, college football will be here before you know it, 1 week before NFL, and then NFL coming up too. So a bunch going on. If you just are saying I play MMA, I just need that. Single sport MMA, $29 for the month, only $20 more if you want to add SaberSim. MMA does not stop. Cards pretty much every single week, and prizes are very good. We would love to have you, and definitely do get in the Discord if you do join. It looks like Big Marley. Let's see. Take him out there. Add him there. We got Big Marley back. All right. Let's head over back to the Stone. And we are headed to the next fight on the card. Another mid-tier fight. Tresean Gore minus 117. Vicente Luque minus 103. Minus 160 for this fight to finish. Gore plus 135 inside the distance. Luque plus 240. Another fight with line movement like most of these have. Luque opened minus 155. 2 minutes later, he was plus 105. And then it's bounced back and forth about like 15, 20 cents since then. But now it's minus 117. Minus 103 Gore. This is, again, as you can see, of all the fights expected to finish within the first 9, this is the least of them to finish at minus 160. Still a mid-tier fight expected to finish. I'm curious to hear your take on how this one goes. And then if you had to pick this fight or the Brahimaj Magny fight, which one would you prefer? And right when I say that, I don't know how long he's been gone. I was talking to myself, though. So I will take it away myself. If Big Marley comes back, we'd love it. Otherwise, it'll be me. Let me just remove him. Let me get to, and bear with me throughout this. I haven't done too many solo shows, and it's a lot of talking, but I'll do my best. Ooh. Oh my gosh, that's unreal. Then I accidentally hit the fucking back button. I know, we're still live. I know you can hear. Let me pull up the Stone. Couldn't get any worse, Big Marley. You got me all flustered, my man. You hear me, Big Marley? Big Marley, do you hear me?
There we go. I could not hear you. Now I can. Hopefully that sticks up. What are we on right now?
Luque Gore, take it away.
All right. Hopefully I stay. But this is one where I feel like the line was a little bit off because of Gore's last win, which was impressive. And I also think we got a lot of washed Luque built into this line as well. But I think overall what they have done in their careers, what they are good at in the cage, I slightly favor Luque in this matchup. I think he's the more dangerous grappler. I think he's the more proven striker too, but he is the one who has lost a step on the feet. I would worry about a striking match, especially if the volume and the power starts adding up on the Gore side. I think Gore could knock him out. But easiest path to victory for Luque, I think, would be to take.
All right, I removed him. He was breaking up a little bit, and trying to connect your audio to your AirPods or something if you have it. It was a little staticky too, but you're good. I'm gonna remove you for now, or just mute yourself quick. And then we'll get Big Marley's take after that if he can. So yeah, he's on the Luque side. You can see from the stars. I'm on the Tresean Gore side. I mean, it's hard to feel that confident in a 7-4 fighter, but it wasn't too far removed from Luque having brain bleeds. I am definitely worried about his durability. I was worried about the last fight, though, and he cost me pretty big against Kelvin Gastelum. He broke the slate as a dog. He hurt him, submitted him. Gore, I think, can win by knockout. He is low volume, so I'm a little concerned that this fight is only minus 160 to finish. The longer the fight goes, even if it is a third-round knockout, again, you still need to score at 8,400 this week. So I'm not in love with the Gore side, but I do think he has knockout potential at any time. Then a nasty guillotine. If Luque does shoot or does hurt him and then he panic wrestles, Gore can lock up a guillotine as well. Again, Luque, skill for skill offensively, he is the better fighter. He's finished 21 of his 24 wins, 11 KOs, 10 submission. He is very well-rounded. He's just 34, and that's like 44 in fight years with how much damage he's accrued. So I'm on the Gore side. I don't feel too confident with it. I prefer Brahimaj Magny if having to choose the fight. And I'm going to ask Big Marley. Hopefully we got him back. You can finish what you're saying, and then do you prefer the Gore this fight or the Brahimaj Magny fight?
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I think you sound a little better.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm just on the Luque side because of I think him being a more proven fighter all around. But if he were to look to grapple, I just got to give him a clear favorite in that one. I don't know if you heard the beginning, but I feel like the line has a lot of built-in. Gore in his last win, which was an impressive win, and then a washed Luque is what everyone's betting on, in my opinion. But I favor Luque slightly. I think he's going to be one of my highest owned underdogs on the card. I'll be underweight to Gore. The more lineups I make, the more I'm interested in Gore. But I just like other favorites too much to make him one of my core plays or somebody who I'm really looking to click on with my hand builds, unless there's other underdogs like a Charles Johnson that I.
Hey, at least we almost got his full take on that fight. You could tell he likes the Luque side. One thing to note for the inside the distance props on both guys, Gore was plus 150 at open, now plus 135. Luque was plus 250, now plus 240. So both guys' individual inside the distance prop has gone the right way if you do want to play it. Big Marley and I are on different sides, but I cannot argue. If I did have more Luque when it was all said and done, the 600 savings goes actually a pretty long way on this card. If we ever do get him back, I'll ask him which fight he prefers, Gore, Luque, Brahimaj, Magny. I prefer Brahimaj, Magny if having to choose. We'll keep it rolling. Next fight on the card, Donte Johnson minus 245, Eric McConico plus 203, minus 200 for this fight to finish. Johnson minus 115 inside the distance. McConico plus 400. Yeah, I mean, this fight's kind of weird. So Donte Johnson, 8-0, 6 wins by knockout, 1 by submission. A pretty poor look against Cody Brundage last fight. He did win a split decision. He only landed 45 significant strikes, though. Showed pretty bad fight IQ. McConico on the other side, 11-4, 4 wins by knockout, 3 by submission. But all 4 of his losses have come by knockout. I'm very worried about the durability, and Donte Johnson does hit very hard. Now, he's very short for the division. As you can see right here, he'll be at a 4-inch height disadvantage and a 3-inch reach disadvantage. So he has to get on the inside, but he is strong. He can get on the inside. And when he does, he will definitely have a power advantage. And McConico's chin cannot withhold the power from Johnson. With all that being said, Johnson's 8,800, coming off a complete stinker. Isn't going to wrestle, I don't think, too much in this fight. So I think we do need a first, maybe second round finish for him to be optimal. And I think as far as the minute winner, I expect it to be competitive. So McConico, I expect to be a low-owned dog. I think he's very live in this fight. Plus 400 inside the distance isn't too bad. Johnson's still 8-0, kind of unproven as a pro. If McConico doesn't get cracked, I think this is going to be a pretty competitive fight. I prefer saving the 1,400 And a lot of that just has to do with the upper tier is so loaded on this card. So I plan on capping my Johnson exposure somewhere around his round one prop. His round one prop plus 250, 28.6%. I mean, that is going to be high. His round one prop is higher than I expect his ownership to be. With all that being said, I don't think all of his round one wins are optimal on this card. You obviously take it, but we're expecting, or at least I'm expecting, a lot of big scores in the upper tier. So, yeah, just a mid-fight. McConico, my preferred play, I think. I'm fine with some Johnson. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully I stay in here. I might have to keep leaving the show and come back in because you cancel out. So I have to figure what the hell's going on here. But I am definitely on the McConico side for a ceiling. I think he's just the more powerful striker, the more imposing wrestler, the guy who's going to be pushing forward, kind of setting the pace. I wouldn't call him like a volume striker or anything, but I just expect him to be the one, hunting for the knockout anyway. So I do like your first round cap on his ownership. I think that does make sense. I would really not feel good about him if he made it out of round one, unless he was going to get multiple takedowns and or multiple knockdowns, which I never want to project. And then I agree. I think McConico is really live to win a point fighting matchup here, but I don't expect him to have any real ceiling. I think he could score like 45 to 75, which maybe it could be enough. As an underdog, I'm not going to X him out, but he's not even one of my favorite underdogs to click. Just I'd rather have a guy who has a higher ceiling and less of a chance to win than a guy like McConico, who I think if it goes the distance, then he's got a decent chance of getting his hand raised. So for me, it's going to be more so Johnson or pass. But the more lineups I make, the more I am interested in McConico, and the more I need underdogs. I mean, I think Charles Johnson will probably end up opening that up more than I want to get to McConico, but he'll be what, twice as owned or something, which that's
Four
another way to
times.
get different. Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, that's kind of like Jillian Robertson, Charles Johnson. I think the lower tier will be very concentrated this week. So trying to find names that aren't like those two. I don't like Jeremiah Wells much. I'm fine. Tobias kind of in the same boat as McConico, but I feel better about McConico winning. I do think Tobias probably has more upside in his wins, but if you tell me McConico scoring 70 this week, I'm going to have like 55, 60%. I'm taking 70 on this card and running. A lot of that has to do with, I think the upper tier just smashes, and I don't love too many dogs to win. So even if I know like a 6,900 Charles Johnson scores 45, I really like it. Like, it allows me to do a lot of things in the upper tier, but he's going to be a lot higher owned. McConico being 13% owned, scoring 75 sounds a lot more appealing that way. And yeah, I think he is very live in this fight. And Donte Johnson, he can be a little wild. He can close the distance. McConico could maybe clip him and drop him. So I think there could be possible sneaky upside on the McConico side. I see we lost Big Marley again. Big back, man, that is hey, I love your picture. That's a sick picture, but that is very ballsy, unless you're playing one team, obviously, but good luck to you. That is not something I will be looking to do, but I will keep that in mind when watching the fight on Saturday. All right, let's get to an absolute banger. We got Jalin Turner. We got Kaue Fernandes. Let me get Big Marley back in here quick. Turner minus 155. Kaue Fernandes plus 135. Minus 400 for this fight to finish, which is the most likely on the card. Turner minus 105 inside the distance. Kaue Fernandes plus 175. Turner round one, open plus 250, now plus 225. I'm just loading up on this fight, but Kaue Fernandes, I always joke oh, this guy's becoming my favorite fighter. Half joke, half not. But what I do love, as you guys know, I love my leg kicks, and Kaue Fernandes is starting to become the king of leg kicks. Got a TKO last fight by leg kicks against Harry Hardwick. He is nasty at range. Spams them, his opponents' legs. It takes like 2 or 3 of them, and you can tell that it starts taking a toll on them. Once your leg's gone in UFC, you can't explode as much. Then you have to switch stances to where you're not as comfortable, and it just changes the whole dimension of the fight. I think Kaue Fernandes is going to let me remove that. I think Fernandes from the get-go is going to spam leg kicks. We've seen Jalin Turner quit in the past. Jalin Turner retired for a little bit as well. I think Turner is going to need this, not need it on the mat, since he has a lot of power and he's very long and hits hard. But if he doesn't get takedowns, I think Fernandes is going to be take over as the fight goes. I think the legs of Turner will go. Jalin Turner can quit. I think Kaue Fernandes at 7,600 and plus money right now is the side to be on. He's my pick. Turner has a lot of upside, has a lot of round one upside. It's easier to leave money on the table when you play him at 8,600, but Fernandes is who I have more interest in. He's my pick to win, and I see Big Marley has 4 stars, Fernandes 2 Turner. So do you see it the same? Yeah, you can't hear anything.
All right. Oh, shit. Yeah, I can't hear anything. My headphones are now. Can you hear me?
Hey, just
all right.
you're.
I'll be back.
Yeah, you're good. I can just take this. At this point, I might as well just do it myself. Yeah, you can find Big Marley in the Discord as well, though. All right, let's get to the next fights. Another very solid fight. Joel Alvarez and Chidi Njokuani. Minus 300 is Alvarez. Plus 245 is Chidi. Let's minus 250 for this fight to finish. Alvarez minus 155 inside the distance. Chidi plus 450. Alvarez in round 1 plus 200. I mean, this is an absolute banger. So I put these odds up on Tuesday. It was minus 270 Alvarez, and Tuesday's yesterday from when we're recording the show. So he was minus 270 yesterday. And man, I just refreshed and now it's minus 330. Someone just hit Alvarez like minutes ago or something, unless I didn't refresh. So Alvarez has taken 60 cents since Tuesday. 8,900. He has good money line value. Minus 155 inside the distance after opening minus 140 is good inside the distance prop value. I always love Joel Alvarez. This dude is very, very nasty. 23-4. Used to fight at lightweight. He had one of the biggest frames. Like we just talked about Jalin Turner. You can see very similar. He has finished all 25, or excuse me, let me get this right. He's only been the distance twice in 25 pro fights. 17 of his wins have been by submission. 5 have been by knockout. So every single win of his 23 have come by finish, majority by submission. With all that being said, it's a little hard because he doesn't take people down. He either drops them, his opponents make a mistake. He finds ways to get the fight to the mat without offensive wrestling himself, which is a little concerning because Chidi is not going to wrestle. He is a stone cold striker, a powerful striker at that. 6'3", just like Alvarez, will have a 3-inch height advantage. But Alvarez, I still think the better minute. I think he's the better striker per minute. I like his leg kicks. I like his jab. I worry about Chidi's chin. He's been in some wars. And then if this fight does hit the mat at any point or gets down there, I think it'll be over very shortly after. So I'm really excited for this one. I'm a big Joel Alvarez guy. I think he's better on the feet. I think he's better on the mat. He is definitely my preferred play. But I do worry a little bit. Like over 1.5 is minus 145. It opened plus 120. If this fight does get to the second round, especially the third round, I do worry a little bit about Alvarez scoring enough at 8,900 since I don't expect him to wrestle. And especially if it's getting to the third round. If he did wrestle, I think it'd be finished already. And I don't expect him to be landing like 8 significant strikes per minute or something like that. We are in the big cage in Philly this week. So I do like Alvarez. I like minus 300, minus 155 inside the distance. But I do worry about his upside a little bit if this fight does get extended, which it is expected to do. So plus 200 in round 1 for Alvarez. That's 33%. I mean, that is really strong. I'll probably cap it somewhere about 40, 38% Alvarez, but I do think he's a very strong play. I like Chidi. I like him more if Alvarez's ownership is in like the mid-30s. The higher Alvarez is, the more I like Chidi for leverage. He is live for a knockout at any time. He does have a lot of power, but I do worry that he's going to be worried about getting taken down or just staying on the feet. He's not going to get off as much as Alvarez is, and Alvarez will walk him down. So Alvarez my pick to win this one. I like him a good amount in DFS, but I wouldn't say no fight, in my opinion, you have to go all in on. So definitely not an all-in fight here. All right, let's get to the next fight on the card. The second biggest favorites, actually, yeah, tied for the second biggest favorite now, is Esteban Ribovics, minus 650. Edson Barbosa, plus 475. Minus 270 for this fight to finish. Ribovics, minus 210 inside the distance. Barboza plus 725. Ribovics round 1 plus 155. We're talking line movement. Whoever opened this line, I hope he's fired by now. You've got it, or he, she, whatever. You got to find a new career path. Minus 300 Edson Barboza at open. Somehow it took 16 minutes, so the dude must have fell asleep after making the line. 16 minutes later, though, Barboza was a plus 245 dog. Now he's plus 475. You can see a 10-year age gap here, and it just comes down to two primary strikers, one of them against 40 and one's 30, and Ribovics just has so much more power. Then you go and you look at it. Barboza has been knocked out 5 times in his 14 losses. Ribovics throws a lot of volume, is quicker than Barboza, hits harder. He's just better at every single dimension of striking. I don't expect this fight to hit the mat. With all that being said, Ribovics is 9,400. Islam's cheaper. Mackenzie Dern's cheaper. Alvarez, Donte Johnson, Turner, and then you only pay 200 more, and then you get Orolbai, who's going to wrestle. So I do expect that to keep Ribovics ownership intact, and I am fine playing some Ribovics, even at a really tough price tag in chalkier teams. Again, I think Gary's fine, Robertson's fine, Charles Johnson's fine, Tobias, McConico. There are enough dogs on this card that you can make it work, and it's going to be in chalkier teams more than likely when I play Ribovics. Again, I talked about the money line that has gone to him. Ribovics opened minus 175 inside the distance. Now he's minus 210. Ribovics opened plus 215 in round 1. Now he's plus 155. He's taking money in every which way. I think he absolutely dominates Barboza. I think he knocks him out in the first round. You almost want probably like a round 2 buzzer beater, though, for him really to get there at 9,400. But you'll take a round 1 finish at this ownership as well. I do not plan on playing Barboza. I think he is one of the worst plays on the slate. Let me grab a drink of water. This is a lot of talking, and I am not used to that. So 1 second. All right. We are back. We got 4 fights left. 100 more than Esteban Ribovics is Mansour Abdul-Malik, who's minus 650. He's taking on Dustin Stoltzfus, plus 475. Minus 200 for this fight to finish. Mansour minus 160 inside the distance. Stoltzfus plus 700. Mansour in round 1 plus 180. I mean, we just talked about Ribovics at 9,400. Every good thing about him. Ribovics, same money line. He's 100 cheaper, but he has a better inside the distance prop. He has a better round 1 prop. He throws more volume on the feet. I just don't really see how 9,500 Mansour gets to be optimal. Is he going to wrestle a lot? I don't know. Probably not. Stoltzfus is fine on the mat. I think Mansour's best path is to stay on the feet and to knock him out. Stoltzfus has been knocked out in the past, but I'd prefer going 100 more for Orolbai by a mile. I'd prefer going 100 less for Ribovics, and I'd prefer going Islam and leaving the money, going Dern and probably leaving the money. I don't plan on really playing this fight at all. I think Mansour and Stoltzfus are fades. Even a round 1 finish for Mansour. Can it get there? Of sure. But over 1.5 in this fight, minus 130. I think this is going to be one of those fight fades for me. It's hard to come up with many fight fades that you're confident on when 9 of the 12 fights are expected to finish, and then 2 of them that aren't are 5-round favorites. So, or 5-round fights. So I think I'm fading Mansour. I think I'm fading Dustin in 15 teams or less, and I'm hoping that this fight does not get there. I am curious to hear Big Marley's take, though. Again, get in the Discord. That's another reason to be a member, to see why Big Marley does have this as a 4-star, because he obviously has different takes than I do. The next fight, again, this was supposed to be Jose Ochoa, Charles Johnson. It was 9,300 Ochoa, 6,900 Johnson. It was like minus 550, plus 380. Out is Ochoa. This will lead to, I mentioned it at the top, but Kenny thinks it's going to be about minus 180, plus 150 with Eduardo as the favorite. That would make Johnson severely, severely underowned in this one. Probably if those are the correct lines, you could see Johnson like 45% owned in large field stuff, even higher in single entry stuff. I don't know. 45% Johnson. The thing with him is I expect this fight to probably be expected to go the distance. Johnson's scrappy. He can throw solid volume. I know it's it doesn't show that he throws a ton of volume, only 0.47 takedowns, but he has good cardio. He can grapple, he can wrestle, he can strike. He is well-rounded. I don't know much about this Eduardo cat. I'm not going to pretend that I do. I'm waiting for the odds. I'm waiting for the props. He's probably either going to be 8,500 or 8,700. My guess is I won't have too much interest on that side since I do respect Johnson. When I'm playing Johnson, I'm probably wanting to fade at least one of these 5-round fights, leave some money on the table, play a very low-owned McConico or something like that. I want to get different in that spot or do a couple things to get different when I am playing Charles Johnson, but I have to see where the line's at, where the line goes to, what the fight to finish prop and all that good stuff is. And of course, you can find all of our content, the write-ups, MMA, the Slate Station. All of my thoughts will be in there when we do have more information on this one. So it's hard to talk about it right now. What's up, YSN? Great to see you. Hope you're doing well. And shout out to you. He won 10,000 in the, what was that? What did you just win 10,000 in YSN? Was it MLB All-Star break or something? No, it was a preseason. Shout out to Little Neck. The Hall of Fame game had his towers. YSN won 10 G's in the pre-game or the Hall of Fame game in preseason. So love to see that. And yeah, shout out to Little Neck. We don't charge for NFL preseason content, but he is in the Discord, just another perk to get in there. So shout out to you. Yep, we got 2 fights left, both 5-round fights. Mackenzie Dern looking for her first title defense, taking on Jillian Robertson. Minus 205 Dern, plus 177 is Robertson. Plus 120 for this fight to finish. Dern plus 155 inside the distance. Robertson plus 650. As far as line movement in this one, Dern opened minus 250, got as low as minus 330. Let me make sure I got that right. No, got as low as minus 270 a couple days ago. Robertson has gotten some buyback. Now it's minus 205 plus 177. I'm kind of surprised, actually, that Dern is only minus 205. I get it's the women's division. It's a women's fight. It's relatively, they're more competitive in general. Robertson can grapple. Dern can grapple. So you can say it might cancel each other out. But I think Dern's the better grappler if it gets to the mat. I think Robertson needs to be on top to have the advantage. And even then, I think Dern might be able to find her way to get out of it. But on the feet, it's not often Mackenzie Dern's the better striker, but I don't see how Robertson is too competitive in the striking in this one. Box punches with her face, has no power coming on the way back. Dern has continued to improve on the feet. I think Dern can keep it on the feet if she wants to for as long as she wants and win a decision that way, possibly get a knockout. And that kind of leads me to not loving this fight. Again, it's going to be high owned. It's 5 rounds. Of course, in a vacuum, it's going to look good and I'm going to play some. But I do have my concerns if Dern just takes the striking approach. At 9K, I keep talking about all these upper tier fighters and how much upside they have. 9K is a price that I'm probably needing 105, 110 plus to feel good about being optimal. And if she's going to be 45% owned or 40% owned, that's a lot of ownership. So I'm a little concerned about this fight at ownership for DFS. Now, Robertson, even though I'm not picking her, plus 177 is 36% chance. It's hard for me to see her winning this fight and not scoring, because if she wins, I think it's going to be her having success, getting on top on the mat, getting offensive takedowns, and that obviously scores at 7,200. So Dern's my pick, but my preferred play might be Robertson, and I see that is Big Marley's because he has more stars on her than Dern. But just for the simple fact, not all Dern's wins are going to score enough to be optimal, especially since I think she's going to strike quite a bit. And when Robertson wins, I don't think she's winning a striking match. And even so, if I say I'm going to be fine with 75 at 7,400 from McConico, I'm going to be fine with 80, 85 from Robertson if she did get that at 7,200. So I'm torn on this. Dern's my pick. Robertson's probably my preferred play, but I probably come in underweight when it's all said and done on this 5-round fight. What's up, Al? Great to see you. Yeah, we can begin. Definitely not restarting. There's been some technical difficulties. I accidentally exited out. It's been a mess, but we appreciate everyone hanging out with us still. Like button, subscribe button. Does help us out a ton. And I just want to say again, Good luck to Kenny, to Matt K, to Ricardo, to Sheets in the MMA live final this week in Philadelphia. They put him up in a suite, $250,000 to first place. That is awesome, awesome stuff. So congrats to you and good luck. And I believe Matt K has multiple tickets, if I'm not mistaken. All right, it's the last fight of the night. It is Islam Makhachev. It is Ian Machado Garry. We have Islam at minus 330, Ian Garry plus 267, plus 130 for this fight to finish. Islam plus 140 inside the distance, Garry plus 850. This line opened Islam minus 300. It got as low as minus 400. Islam a little over a week ago. And then since then, Ian Garry has taken money. Now it is minus 330, plus 267. It's so impressive what Islam's doing at 34 years old. I've never picked against the guy. I've always been Team Habib, Team Islam. These guys are just built different. They have cardio. They have the wrestling that is next to none. And yeah, wrestling in this sport is dominant. With all that being said, though, I think at money line value, I think I'm most interested in Garry than I have against Islam, any of Islam's opponents in the past. And I know Volk gave him a great fight. Poirier gave him a great fight. I kind of X those guys out and didn't even really give them much of a chance. I do think Ian Garry has a decent chance to win this fight. And the reason for that, on the feet, I am giving Garry the striking advantage. Again, at 170, this is only Islam's second fight at 170 since making the move up. You can see the 5-inch height disadvantage, the 4-inch reach disadvantage for Islam. Garry, not a fun fighter to watch, in my opinion. I believe his last 6 have all gone the distance. With that being said, he knows how to win. When you're this high and this close to a title, you do not want to take the chances. When you're fighting in the first fight of the night, the second fight of the night, you're a newcomer, you do unfortunately have to take some chances to be a fun fighter to make your way up. Ian Garry has always had a very high ceiling. People knew who he was. He's always been a great fighter. He didn't have to fight like that. So he fights in best ways to win, to limit his damage, and he does very good at it. Then he goes to Brazil to learn jiu-jitsu. You know he's been working on his wrestling and defensive wrestling for this whole time. Michael Venom Page, he struggled on the feet a little bit. He used his grappling, his wrestling, and got it done that way. Is it enough? Can he be defensively sound enough? Can he get up when he's taken down? Can he make Islam work? I'm going to have some in DFS. I usually X out whoever's fighting Islam, and that's not going to be the case this week. And his ownership, we talked about it earlier, Charles Johnson's with his new opponent and him going way up in ownership, that will lower Garry's ownership, lower Robertson's ownership. Johnson will take some of that away, which honestly makes Garry and Robertson more appealing for that reason. So I think this is going to be a pretty competitive fight. Now, would I be surprised if Islam just goes out, gets a takedown every round, and dominates on top? I guess actually I might be a little surprised if it is that one-way traffic. It is Islam Makhachev at the end of the day, though. But I think Ian Garry can keep his distance in the big cage, can start attacking the legs, can jab, and I think he's going to defend a decent amount of takedowns. Islam's not going to stop going for the takedowns, though. More than likely, he probably gets his hand raised, but at ownership, at the money line that we're looking at right now, I would rather bet plus 273 Garry than lay minus 335 on Islam, which, again, I have not said in many of his fights. In terms of DFS, I do think some fight fades are live in this fight as well. It's going to be very, very high owned. And we just saw Gamrot Salkild not be optimal at 90% last week. So you can always fade anything in MMA. If this fight does bust, you have more of a chance to get a solo shipper. With all that being said, Islam has not scored less than 100. 9 of his last 10 fights, he scored over 100. With that being said, 105, 107 might not be enough this week at 9,200. So I wouldn't fully lock this fight. I think Garry slows fights down. If he can win a round or two on the feet, if he can stuff takedowns and get a striking match, this fight could bust that way. And maybe even Garry could win or be optimal in a decision or in a loss. If Garry wins, he should score fine and more than likely be optimal. Garry in a loss, I felt better about his chances before the Charles Johnson $6,900 price tag. He probably doesn't get there in a loss, but I'm not going to have 100% of this fight. I do think it's viable if he can stuff takedowns, if he can get mainly a striking match. Islam wins a decision with only a couple takedowns and 8 minutes of control time, that might not be enough at 9,200. So probably more overweight Garry when it's all said and done in this fight, which I have not been on that side at all. But yeah, 170 is a different beast. Jack Della did not have the answers for Islam. I think Ian Garry has a much better chance. What's up, Bring the Noise? Definitely looking forward to Saturday in Philadelphia. We have a 5 p.m. Eastern start time. All we ask is the like button and subscribe button. It helps us out a ton. And if you are looking to get in, again, this is our homepage at Chippin' Nation. Usually $99. You can get in for $49. Clicking this banner, you get SaberSim and access to the Discord. Bottom left, join the nation. You can also get in for as low as $19 for 5 days. Discord, SaberSim included, access to all the sports above. If you just play MMA and you want our content, single sport MMA, $29 for the month, $49 if you want to add SaberSim. MMA goes on pretty much every single week. Before you know it, college football and NFL will be back, and then we are absolutely rolling. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us. Thank you for putting up with some of the technical difficulties on Big Marley's side. I hope everybody has a little more cheese in their pocket when it is all said and done on Saturday nights. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe. That'll do it for us. I'm Titletown for Big Marley somewhere. Good luck. Be safe. Peace.